simply so glad to be here, but I want to tell you right up front here at a mom convention that I am, without a doubt, cut from a little bit of a weird parenting cloth, okay? Just know it. Just know it as we move forward. Honestly, I kind of miss the days gone by of just laid back parenting. That is the way I want to roll. I have the parenting sensibilities, a little bit of like a 1970s mom, like the way I grew up. I mean, when I was growing up, my mom was not my entertainer or my bodyguard, ever. If I would have told my mom, I don't have anything to do, she'd have been like, what do you mean you have nothing to do? You got a bike, you got something to do, get out of my face. That's like how my mom parented. And so, we just kind of grew up like that. I was just talking to a friend back in the green room, and she said, we grew up like that too. She said, my brother and I used to say that we were essentially raised by wolves. I'm like, yeah, that fits. And so that's my bent. I kind of lean that way. I like things to be a little crazy. I like kids to be kids. I like things to get a little wild. I have a bunch of sons, and I like boys to be boys. I will tell you, let me show you a little video. These are the sort of shenanigans that go on in my home on a very daily basis. What are you doing, buddy? Do you need the wristband on?
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose your boogie board in the waves? Oh. Nice. He stuck the landing. Yeah.
Well, I had to flip. It's just kind of fun. This was my idea, made by Gavin Hatmaker.
Whatever.
No, I swear it was, right, Matt? Yeah.
Put some pants on.
Take the fuck out. Oh, take.
Sheesh.
My turn.
Oh, sheesh.
Backwards, but I failed. No, Cindy, not on ours.
So, not only did I clearly endorse that, but I'm like, wait. Let me get my camera. This makes me feel like a good parent. Like, this is what I'm holding up in front of you saying, this is fine, right? This is just kind of the way I am. I gotta be honest with you. May I just say this? When you put your car seat in my car for your 11-year-old, I am stressed out. Stop it. Immediately. Sometimes I feel, as a mom with these sorts of sensibilities, that I am surrounded by parenting advice and books and blogs that are just so precious and so earnest that sometimes I struggle to find connection. And for me, I can walk away really disillusioned and frustrated and discouraged because I never, ever match the prototype. I told you, we are not precious people. We did not come from precious, and we did not produce precious, okay? I know some of you are freaking out. You're like, oh my gosh, they let her write a parenting book. That was unwise. I don't mean to put them in extreme emotional or physical harm, or at least not much, okay? I hope to hedge just this side of irresponsible, but here's the thing. When I first started having babies, I used to be so afraid all the time. All the time. I felt like fear was my dominating emotion. I was afraid of potentially real things, although unlikely, like raw carrots, terrifying. Public bathrooms, horrifying. I was afraid of plenty of imaginary things. I told my husband that I felt like 92% certain that at some point I was going to drive my car into a body of water with my children in the back seat and have to figure out how to get them out of the car. And he's like, you are a weirdo. He's like, dads do not think about invented problems like this. And I started to notice as my kids got a little bit bigger, I realized that I was parenting to avoid anything that smacked of struggle or failure or loss. I was worried all the time. Because let's be honest, when it comes to motherhood, fear makes an already hard job harder still, and unnecessarily so. I asked my mom one time, I was like, Mom, did you and your friends, did you worry about us all the time? Did you worry about your parenting style and our emotional health and all that? She was like, no. She said, me and my friends, we just raised you. You and your friends parent. And she's like, this is on you, girl. All this pressure, it is self-imposed. You and your generation have created some sort of perfect imaginary life that actually doesn't even exist. There is no such thing. There is no such thing as the perfect model of parenting or a family whose kids never get to a scratching, vicious claw fight. That family's lying, okay? If they say that all their children ever do is brush each other's hair, bull. That's bull. And you know what? Micromanaging every last little detail of our kids' lives, where our kids never have to struggle, and they never have to fail, and they never have to lose. That's a sham. And not only is it an illusion of control, but we're actually doing our kids a disservice when we cushion every blow and sanitize their little lives. Because you know what happens with that perspective? Our goal becomes, inadvertently, giving our kids a safe and happy life. Which sounds like, well, yeah. I mean, of course I want my kids safe and happy. That feels like a good goal. But here's the problem. Those will never be the marks of a true disciple. Safe and happy. I cannot find it. I cannot find that as our ultimate goal as Christ followers. It's funny because we love Romans 8:28 for our kids. Man, we painted over their doorposts. We hand stitch things. Well, I don't. Maybe you do. We know it. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. But I wonder, as moms, if we understand the very next verse. Because the very next verse says, for those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of his Son, that he might be like firstborn among many brothers. Let me tell you something. Being conformed into the image of Jesus is not a pretty process. Because our kids are born into sin, just like we all were. And God has messy, real work to do to transform them into disciples. And you know what that process involves? Sacrifice, loss, struggle, failure, courage. I'm gonna say this, maybe even danger. And in some way, cultivating a single-minded obsession with the kingdom. And what happens when we trust God with that process for our kids is that they actually might embarrass us. I'm serious. They might disappoint us or scare us as they wrestle with God. But I wonder if we're brave enough to see God's redemptive hand in their lives even then. Let's put it on our plate. When have you and I grown the most? When have we changed the deepest? When have we experienced seasons of the most radical transformation in our lives? Struggle, loss, failure, risk, courage, messy relationship mending. Our kids are the same. Moms, our job is not to shield our kids from everything hard, but rather to parent them through it with wisdom and discernment. We should not, I feel so strong about this, we should not pull our kids completely out of this culture in some sort of weird, parallel Christian universe. okay? That's not our job. Our job is to teach our kids how to navigate the real world with grace and conviction. That's our job. So over the course of the first day of parenting to now, 15 years later, I've changed my mind. I've decided that I don't want my kids safe and comfortable like I used to think. I want them brave. I don't want to teach my kids to see danger under every single rock and teach them to avoid anything that is hard or not guaranteed or risky. Y'all, I want to raise kids who go for it. I'm serious. I don't want my kids to grow up one day and expect only success and security and anything that I'd promised to deliver. And let's be honest, I know some of you are like, oh, stop talking, you're weirding me out. Here's the thing. Here's our kids' timeline. Okay, this is when they're born. This is the scope of their life. Our job is done right here. They are going to live the majority of their life out from underneath our umbrella. We have a teeny amount of time to prepare our kids for real life. Okay? Because no one out here is going to be sheltering their little precious hearts. Right? No one out here is going to give all the advantages to our little snowflakes. Okay? Out here there is loss, and there are broken people, and there is God's kingdom waiting to come. And so if we are so concerned about raising safe and happy kids, who's going to raise the disciples? I sincerely want to hear from my kids one day, Mom, I'm going to live in Ethiopia this summer. And I hope I say, yes, go for it. I want to hear my kids say, Mom, so the homeless, I have an idea. Yes, go for it. I want them to say to me, Mom, I'm running away to save the world. Go for it. Go forth in God's power. So for you this morning here, I'm giving you permission. Okay? I am giving you permission, yes, to parent diligently, because we don't just throw our kids willy-nilly into a dangerous world. Okay, we are guiding them, we are teaching them, we are leading them. Parent diligently, but not fearfully. And for the 6 of you in here who are like me, okay, already, I want to tell you something. Stop feeling like you need to hover more or control more or somehow white knuckle the way that your family is and the way that your kids are so that they will fit some mold a little bit closer than they do now. You do not have to do that. You are liberated from that. You be you. You parent the way you are parenting and the way your family is being raised, and you have the discernment to do it. You are free.